Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel, and don't subscribe until you find a reason to. I'm just kidding, subscribe or don't. As promised, as from last week, I said I was going to do a Q&A just to catch up and to fill you in on more details on what has been going on in my life over the past 1 year. So that is what I'm going to do today. I have my questions here and I will be answering some of the questions that you guys sent in, so stay tuned. The first question here, I'll be reading off of my laptop. The first question here is, how did you meet your husband and how did you know he was the one? This is a very exciting topic. Okay, starting from the beginning, I was in Benin because I went for my uncle's wedding and I had to go back to Benin. If you don't know by now, I used to live in Benin. Now I'm living in Lagos. I moved to Lagos a few years back, like I think 2 years ago or so. So I went to Benin for my uncle's wedding and I was about to come back to Lagos. So I was supposed to follow my aunt, but the car was too full and I couldn't follow them. So I had to get a ride. I usually use GIG. If I'm doing any road journey, it's usually GIG that I use. I went to GIG. I was supposed to go for the 6:30 a.m. bus because I was hoping that they would still have space. So I still went to the park really early. But from the app, when I was trying to order the day before, there was no space left in that 6:30 a.m. bus. Right, so I'm going to be filling you in on my husband's side of the story as well because it was honestly just divinely orchestrated. There's no other way I can explain it. So I still went very early in the morning, just hoping that I would get a bus going to Lagos by 6:30 a.m. because the bus was available, just that there weren't any seats left. So I got to the park, I asked them if there was space and they were saying, oh, there are actually spaces left because the people haven't arrived. The people hadn't arrived at the park at that time. So I was hoping that probably they will miss their bus and I will take that space. When it was time for the bus to leave, I went to the cashier and I told her, and I asked her if the space was still available so I can just join the bus, and they said the people had already come and they were in the bus. So I said okay, and the next bus was by 11 a.m. I will talk from my husband's part of the story now. My husband's part of the story, he also came to Benin for a wedding for one of his clients and he followed his boss to Benin, and his boss had actually offered him to fly back to Lagos because they flew to Benin, and going back to Lagos he had the option to fly back, but for some reason, for some odd reason, he said he wants to use the Benin Ore route that he has never passed there before, so he wants to pass there. So he now declined the offer and didn't go with his boss with the flight, so he used bus, and he also booked that 11 a.m. bus that I wasn't planning to go on. So that is where we are. So I was waiting around like 9-10 a.m. This very tall, fair guy walked in, which is my husband right now. Walked in, and you know when someone is tall, you know, they grab your attention, right? Because the person is tall, and tall people tend to get, you know, how do I explain it? They tend to get attention when they walk into places, right? So that was all I noticed. It was time for our bus to leave. We got into the bus. I didn't really pay attention to him because I just wanted to get to Lagos. That was my own goal. I just wanted to go to Lagos. So I got into the bus. His seat was supposed to be at the back, but he was saying, oh, that place is too tight, his legs and and that was, now I was even getting annoyed, like, please, can these people enter this bus? I beg, let's be going, because it was already time for the bus to leave. So they were now pleading with him, and he just, you know, he couldn't stay at the back, so they told him to change to the front. So he was sitting next to me with his colleague. So throughout the bus ride, I was just minding my business, and that time it was like reboot camp period, and I was not in Lagos for reboot camp, so I had to stream it. So I was streaming it, I was praying in the spirits, you know, very low under my breath so that I don't distract people. And he noticed that, and that was when we were already close to Lagos. In fact, throughout the ride, he had been taking interest in me, and I didn't know because I was just on my own. I just wanted to get to my destination. When we were close to Lagos, he then gets my attention because that time we were around like Adesanya, and the park was at Adesanya, so we're already close to the park to come down. And then the first question that he asked me, he looks to me, and from his own perspective, God had already been telling him that he should speak to me, right? And that and that I'm his wife. But he didn't tell me that right off the bat. If not, I would have thought that it was weird, because it is weird for you to actually walk up to someone and say you are my wife when I don't know anything about you. So he was being very strategic about it. So there's this ring I used to wear. I'm wearing it right now, this ring, and I used to wear it on my middle finger. So you know, some people wear rings there and they just, you know, tend to think that, oh, it's an engagement ring. So he asked me if I was married, and I said no. Mind you, the whole time I was speaking to him, I did not remember what he looked like. That's why I've been holding back from telling the story, because it is just so weird, right? I didn't remember how he looked like after I had gone home. So he asked if I'm married, and he asked what church I go to. I told him everything, which is very weird, because if we're in a bus and you're trying to move to me, I will not give you any attention. Honestly, I will not, because it's just entering any other bus. There's no need for me to have an actual conversation with anybody there, because I don't know them. So I don't know why I took an interest in him, and he asked for my phone number and I gave him, and he offered to drop me home, and he said that his staff is bringing his car. I was like, staff bringing car, wow. I said, okay, let me share wait. And it was taking so long, and I just wanted to go home. I was exhausted. I just wanted to go and rest. So I just left, because I didn't see him anymore. It's like he went to go and try to direct the person to where we were. So I didn't even bother to tell him bye or we'll talk later or whatever. I just left without him knowing. So, and that time I was getting ready for Catalyst camp meeting. I wasn't really giving them attention because I was trying to prepare for camp meeting. I went for camp meeting. I didn't even pray about him, to tell you how uninterested I was. I was so uninterested. I didn't even take interest in him at all. He was calling me and, you know, telling me that he wants us to go on a date, that he likes me and all. And I told him that if it is about relationship, please, I don't want any relationship, because I just got out of one. Please, I don't want to be in any relationship. And I said, I don't want to be in a relationship with you. I want to marry you. In my mind, I was like, just like that. Now, wow. I had to call my spiritual father, like, sad. Look at what is going on. I don't even understand. I had to run to my spiritual father and, you know, tell him all that was going on, because I needed counsel. This was after I had come back from camp meeting, right? He asked for us to go on a date. He was like, I should pick the location and the time. And I told him, oh, let's go to Lekki Conservation Center. Imagine such a location for a first date, not even a restaurant. So I said, okay, let's go there by 12 p.m. He said, okay, he will pick me up. Mind you, sometime before this, before I met my husband, before I got on that bus and everything, God had woken me up at one time. God woke me up around like 2 a.m. It was a very random instruction, and he told me to open my notes app and to write out or to type out everything that I want in a husband. And of course, the Holy Spirit directed me, my negotiables, my non-negotiables, and all of that, my specs and everything. I was being very, very, very detailed about what I wanted in a husband, and I put it in that list. After that first date that we had at Lekki Conservation Center, I kid you not, when I was going home, I got the instruction to pull out my phone and look through that list again. And during that date, he was telling me everything on that list. I didn't have the goal to get anything much from this date, honestly. I wasn't seeing anything coming out of it. But then he started saying a lot of things that were corresponding to what I had written in that list, from his behavior, from what he said, and everything. And he checked off everything on that list. And the only thing he did not take off was that he does not watch K-drama. and I don't watch K-drama now, so he basically ticked off everything on that list. When we were in that bus, I came across this Pastor Mildred's video where she was talking about 5 things to look for in a husband, and when I listed those, when she mentioned everything, I added them to that list, not knowing that my husband was sitting next to me. It was just looking too good to be true. I was now suspicious, like, wait, what is going on here? So I spoke to my spiritual father, and of course he was telling me to take my time, get to know him very well, and I was not planning to rush. So that happened. We started talking. After some time, we started dating, and then he popped the question. One thing I want to say, and one thing I want to add to this, because I've been holding back from sharing this story, and the reason I'm even sharing this story and I'm not adding timelines, because people tend to use other people's stories as a yardstick for their own, and that is not what I am doing here. Please, I'm just sharing my own personal experience and how I met my husband. That is what I am sharing. I'm not telling you to do anything that I did. I just wanted to make that clear. Disclaimer. The day before I got engaged, that night I had a dream of the particular location, the number of people that were there. I didn't see their faces, but the number of people that were there, I saw them in my dream. He didn't know the location. He knew the location, but not the particular location in that place, because it was in a park. The person was going to direct him to the particular place that she was, the decorators, where she was. And he didn't know that particular space. So I even saw the space before he did in my dream. On Sunday, March 3rd of that year, because usually we go to church together. When we started eating, we go to church together, and then after church we go eat. So while we were eating, he asked if I had a dream last night, which is very strange. You don't just off the bat ask someone. So apparently the night before, God had revealed to him that he was going to show me what he is planning for the engagement. So he already knew that I had a dream, but he just wanted to confirm. So he asked me if I had a dream, and I said yes, and I told him the dream, and he lost his appetite, because he was like, how in the world did you know that I was going to propose to you today? But he didn't tell me that. Obviously he was trying to hide his plans, and he was saying, oh, okay. So we went there, I saw the decorations. I was just minding all through, because I was like, God. So that's the whole story. I think it was the next day I told my spiritual father what had happened, and he talked to us. He was very happy, and being very supportive and all. So another thing I want to point out here, please be accountable, because if you're not accountable, you're just going to make a mess out of what is intended to be good. Everything that happened was within a year. That's how I met my husband. So one thing you must understand is that it's more than just, oh, I like this person, I like the way this person makes me feel, oh, it's like butterflies in my tummy. It could be also, just like my spiritual father would say, it's more than just feelings. Okay, you need to make sure that this person aligns with God's will for your life, and especially if you're in ministry, right? You need to be with someone that understands the vision and understands God's calling on your life. You cannot just marry anybody. Please, you need to understand that as a believer, your life has purpose. You cannot do anything without purpose. No, you need to seek God's will for your life, and seek counsel from your spiritual leader as well. It's not something you just rush into or rush out of. This is not, and you need to understand that Christian dating, the goal is marriage, and so even the people that you meet along the way with the potential of you getting married to them, you need to be careful the kind of people that you even get into a relationship with. You don't just date for, oh, I'm bored, so let me just have someone, I just want to have a companion. No, you are dating because you have the goal of marriage in mind, and so you know that is serious business, and you have to be very, very discreet and very intentional about the kind of relationships that you find yourself in. That is what I'll say about that. If you are waiting on God for marriage, don't see it as something that you must do, because if you are desperate, you can. Desperate leadings lead you to make desperate choices, and you don't want to go into something that you are not sure of just because you are desperate. So yeah, that's what I'll tell you about that. The next question is, what has marriage taught you about love, partnership, and yourself? I just got here, but what I've learned so far is that you need to walk by the Spirit, honestly, because if you pay attention to your emotions and what you're feeling at the moment, you will make very terrible decisions. Listen to the Spirit of God and His nudges. It has just helped me listen to God more and be more attentive to His leadings and to be more discerning of what He wants me to do in every season. And that has honestly helped my growth a lot in the way I communicate with people, in the way I react to situations. It has helped me. It has helped me a lot. Was the transition into married life easy or challenging for you? It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard at all. And I'm being very, very honest. It wasn't hard. Apart from the counseling and everything, I have been helped by God. And God being the center of your marriage is what will make a marriage work. I mean, as a believer, as long as God is at the center and you prioritize your relationship with God, that marriage will work. As long as you're walking by the Spirit, it will work. How do you balance being a wife, running a business, doing ministry, and staying sane? God. I'll keep saying God, because whenever I am overwhelmed, whenever I need help, whenever I need to do anything, I will run to God, because it's only God that can give me direction. If I'm confused, if I need to talk to somebody, I know who to call, and that is God. Honestly, God has helped me a lot to balance every single thing that I do. And it's not like, I won't say I do like a lot, but with what I do, God has been able to help me to balance everything, to be able to prioritize these things. Just a very, very good balance for everything to still work together for good. What inspired you to start Yodia, and what does the name mean? Yodia means sweet fragrance. I said this in my last video. It means sweet fragrance. And what inspired me to start, I had a diffuser that had dried out at home in my last place, and I said, okay, let me start with diffusers. And then, I prayed about it, and I just had the leading to check what is the Greek word for fragrance. And then I found Yodia. So that was how I was led to start this business, and it has been going well. I thank God. Honestly, it has been easy with God. It has been easy with God. Honestly, that's what I'll say about that. What's one thing you wish you knew before launching your business? Honestly, everything that I needed to know before launching a business, I already tackled it before I started the business, because like I said in my last video, this is not the first business I'm starting. The other ones that I started, they have died and gone away with, because there was no structure. I just said, oh, let me just start a business, and I didn't know what it meant to start a business. It takes a lot of commitment, and I'm happy that I had a business coach to help me with that. So I paid for that, for counsel, for mentorship about the beginning phase, and with everything that I learned from her, I applied it to what I do today. So yeah, everything that I needed to know. There are a lot of things to learn before you start your business. You need to learn that business money is not your money. There are so many other lessons to learn. If you want a discrete video on that, on what to do before you start a business, what you shouldn't do, what you should have before you start a business, and all of those details, let me know so that I can do a proper video on it, because it is a lot. It takes a lot before you finally decide to start a business. How do you stay spiritually and emotionally grounded in busy or difficult seasons? Just have structure. Have structure. If you have a structure, that says by 6 a.m. I must pray for an hour. After prayers, I study my Bible for 30 minutes, and then I must watch a sermon that day. When you have structures like that in your life, you are able to still be spiritually grounded without being overwhelmed by everything else, because you already have a structure for it. So if you have a structure for your normal life, that you say, oh, by 8 a.m. I make sure that I head to the gym, and after the gym I go to work and all of those things, you can also put that same mindset to your spiritual growth as well. This is what I tell people all the time. If you are able to schedule and prioritize every other thing in your life, then you can prioritize your spiritual growth if you create a structure for it. The last question I'll be answering is, what are some practical things that help you stay spiritually consistent? Like I said before, structure. I have a structure every day for what I do that will help my spiritual growth. I have a time to pray, I have a time to study my Bible, I have a time to watch a sermon. And with these structures that I've placed in my life, there is no way I can experience drought in my life, because I have put these things in place. And then there are periods of emphasis as well. In as much as I have a structure, there are times in my life where I may have to pray more, I may have to fast more, I may have to study the word more. So different times call for different things, but amidst that, you must have a structure that you follow every single day of your life. Just like the way you wake up and you know that you're supposed to bathe today, that you're supposed to brush your teeth today. Just make sure it's a part of your daily routine, and you will be spiritually consistent and you will not experience a drought. Thank you guys for the questions. If you have more questions, I will answer them in the comment section. I don't know when next I'm going to do a Q&A, but I had fun answering these questions. So if you have more questions, you need more clarity on anything that I answered, let me know in the comments and I will give you a reply.